All right, it's good to have a normal week to work on. New Mexico State is got a big win Saturday night. I got to watch it all on television. They were down 30-7 at one time and came back and won the game. That was a heck of a job. Really, when you look at their schedule, they could probably be 4-4. They lost a overtime game to UTEP. They lost a close game to Georgia State, and they really had a chance to beat New Mexico at New Mexico. And I've seen, Coach Martin's done a good job. I think he's talked a lot about them learning how to win, and they're still a pretty young football team. They played us really tough last year. They had a lot of offense. We had trouble getting them slowed down. Terrence Franks had a big punt block for us in that game, if you remember, and we moved the ball pretty well and did some good things. But they managed to hold on and win by 8 points, so that was good. This group is feeling pretty good, and that was a good win for them. They're pretty excited about it and should be. They got a good tailback in Larry Rose. He's already over 1,000 yards for the year. He's good, tough to stop. He gets his yardage week in and week out. He got about 200 last week. He'll go for 3 or 4, and then he'll break a couple. And they keep feeding it to him pretty good. They've had their injuries at quarterback, and they seem to be replacing guys, and they seem to be stepping in and doing a good job. The young man that played most of the game last week, I think his name's Allen, played well. So they've got a good balance to their offense in rushing and passing, which makes them a little harder to defend, I think. Defensively, they're giving up some yards, so we need to execute better on our side of the ball. We need to block better on our side of the ball. We need to get into a little bit better offensive rhythm on our side of the ball, and find a way to defend Larry Rose as best we can and kind of fit to their passing game and the things they do in that. We didn't do a very good job last year. We held them to 28, which was good enough to win the game, but really they moved the ball pretty well on us. We've got 3 games straight here at home. That's nice. We look forward to that opportunity to get back in front of our crowd and play in our place and those kind of things. And this is a good time for us to have something like that. So, no further questions. I'll see you guys on Saturday.
Coach, it's kind of an earlier game this week at 3:30. If I'm not mistaken, all your other games have been at night. Does that play into make a difference at all for your team in preparation?
I don't think so. No, it's nothing like last week's when we played Saturday and had to travel Wednesday and play Thursday. Sometimes when you haven't been in the Big 12 and the SEC, when you have to play at 11 o'clock kickoff, that's a little shock to your system because pregame meal's about 7:30. But I think really most of the guys would like to wake up, have pregame meal, go play. The sit around the hotel thing is a long day sometimes. It's a rhythm you get used to, but I don't think the 3 o'clock kickoff will be a big deal. It shouldn't be.
Do you ever remember a season like this where it's been injuries or even the way the season broke down when you had so many tough opponents at the beginning of the year and kind of a flip toward the end of the year record-wise between the two?
No. I've had, unusual things to deal with, but all those combinations that you threw out there I don't think I've ever, that I can remember, had one that's quite like this one. Good challenge.
Coach, to be a good football team, you have to stop the run, you have to run the football. You didn't do much of either one the last game. Obviously, Robert had a big game the week before, but you're going to have another game here where you're going to have to stop the run and win. Where are you with that getting that done?
Well, our defense has had its struggles. I mean, you just have to call it like it is. And we played a pretty solid game against South Alabama. We held them to 18. But we still gave up quite a few rushing yards. You know, at the end of the day, we had twice as many points, and that was the thing that mattered. And we've had our struggles in that area of the game, and this week will challenge us good on that, because they do a good job with the run-pass option things and the bubbles and things like that. If you overload the box out on the perimeter, and they hurt us with that last year, so this will be a good challenge. Their offensive line does a nice job with what they do offensively, and Doug is a good offensive coach and a patient one to stay with some of the things he did even when they were behind 30-7 the other night.
Can you talk about Tyler a little bit, where he's been over the last month or so, Coach? It seems like he's pressing through it. How do we get him back on track here?
Well, we need his surrounding cast to play well too, to block better, to execute better. You know, we've had to replace a couple guys in the offensive line. That's, I think, affected all of that just a little bit. We've played some good defenses. We've had to play from behind. All of those things have impacted that, and getting him back on course is not just a fact of him. It's a fact of everybody, and his problem there for a week or two was probably as much that he wanted to do too much. And so, you know, I've often said you're a lot better as a quarterback when you can go back and hand it to that tailback and have 2nd and 4 than 2nd and 9. And you know, we need more of those things to happen, which I'm talking about the whole unit executing to help Tyler. You know, it's not all on him, but sometimes as the quarterback, it looks that way more than it need to be. I mean, I was very, our protection at times was suspect the other night. He can't do much about that. You know, we didn't move the ball very well, but it wasn't all Tyler. It was our whole offensive unit that didn't move the ball well. So he's like me. He gets too much credit and too much blame.
For the running game, Coach, I mean, you guys have kind of really dialed in stretch runs, trying to get him outside. With the challenge that y'all had on the offensive line in certain positions, did y'all talk about doing more quick hitting plays? You know, just to get him up the field, you know, because Robert can really move, get to the best thing.
Really, the stretch hitting plays fit us the best right now for where we're at. And we've executed them the best this year. I think we'll get back to some of the things you're talking to more now, though, be able to, and be able to execute them better here as we go down the second half of the season. Get some experience for the young guys playing in there.
Coach, we saw the defense play its best game in the last 4 weeks against South Alabama, holding them to 18. You had to switch gears defending what Georgia Southern did on offense. Do you feel like you go back and play more conventional defense this weekend against New Mexico State?
Yeah, I think so. It's always easier to do that. You play that more week in, week out. The hard thing is to get ready for Georgia Southern in 4 days. Or, you know, you get ready for a wishbone in an abbreviated schedule, short amount of time. That's much harder than getting ready to play New Mexico State or South Alabama in a normal week of preparation. Because the things they do are more things that you see on a week in, week out basis, the one back set and things like that. That I don't think that's as much of problem or situation to deal with this week as much as it was last week, certainly, because you're basically playing the wishbone. And you know, we gave up. You can't do this, so it's foolish to say, but we had about 6 or 7 big plays, and if we could have fit on those and minimized those, and sometimes we just defended that play and then they ran it again and we didn't defend it as well. And we defended the triple option really well last week. But we didn't defend the power play very well. We didn't get underneath the block. We didn't fit the cutback very well. And had we have done that, the yardage would have been a lot less. We would have been a lot better defensive performance. We got 3 turnovers. Our biggest problem, really, we had the ball 3 times inside the 30 in the first half and didn't get much to show for it. You know, we faked a field goal and then we got 2 field goals out of it. And you know, we needed to get a touchdown when we had those opportunities. And, you know, I thought 2 guys were going to faint when we got the turnover on the 6-yard line. I had to kind of revive them over there. We hadn't had one like that all season long, so that was nice. But we didn't cash in. We didn't get much out of it. And, you know, lack of execution, lack of blocking, and probably poor play calls on our part, you know, looking back. When they don't work, they're not good, you know, so.
Some missed tackles are really too, Coach, and obviously with them going into the pile, coming out, making some big runs, that's something you've been working on in practice?
We have been. Sometimes it doesn't look like it, but we have been a lot, and continue to. Their tailback is a good tailback. Breida is a good running back, and he made us miss a few times, no doubt about it. And it's been one of our weaknesses this year, much more than last year. Certainly has.
Aaron Shaw, he's been playing really well recently. A little banged up on Thursday. What's his status for this week?
He should be fine. He had a bruised hip for the most part, nothing too serious, and I think he'll be ready to go. He worked out Sunday, so he should be fine. We left Jared Jeter Gilman and Steven Smith home with concussions last week. They both should be ready to go this week. That'll help out right there. Getting those guys back, they're pretty steady for us, so they would have helped last week too. We've got our aches and pains, like everybody. Unfortunately, our list might be a little long, but everybody's list is long this time of year.
Looks like we may have rain again this week, Coach. Are you ready for that situation again?
Hey, we thrive in rain, don't we? Put your wet gloves on and go, right? Yeah. You know, it is what it is. You know, I mean, we're going to start at 3 o'clock on Saturday, and we're going to declare a winner at the end of the day. And football, you play rain or sun, so or heat. So we just got to do what we got to do to be successful. We did pretty good in the South Alabama game. I didn't think it bothered us a whole lot in that game. That was not a hard rain, so it'll be the same for both teams, and we just got to try not to let that be a factor.
I'm sure I'm not the only one doing the simple math. There's 5 games left, and you need 4 to reach your...
Were you here last week when I talked to Joe?
Yeah,
You weren't, were you? That was after the
I
game.
didn't bring it up.
I know. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's it. You've got, 5 games left. You need 4 wins to reach your goal of bowl eligibility. When you get 3 home games to kind of start this stretch of the season, is there a little bit more urgency with the guys right now, knowing that this is kind of this next few weeks might be the make or break part of the season?
You know, I talked to the guys Sunday about the rest of the season. I think there's a point in time where you always have a discussion about the big picture. That took about 30 seconds, and the rest of the focus was spent on Mexico State. And, you know, we just, no matter whether we got 3 left, 5 left, or what left, we got to play this game and then come back in and get ready for the next one. And they know what's out there right now, and they know they've got some games at home to help them out a little bit with the home field. But, you know, we got to take care of 1 before we can take care of 2. So I told Joe the other day. So
Yeah.
he tried to mention another word on me, and I kind of had to put it. He knows better now. So.
Considering the curveballs you've been throwing, though, scheduling-wise, I mean, you feel like maybe you're at a point of the season where you have maybe a little bit more of an advantage that you've had so far?
Well, I mean, Joe, what's the record of our first 7? I forgot. 30?
38, 16,
And the last 5?
12 and 27.
So that sounds a lot better. There's no top 25 teams left yet. Now Arkansas State has a chance maybe to get there. And we got 3 out of 5 at home. So is it an advantage? We just have to make it that, you know. But certainly looking at it, I mean, you know, there's some things there that if we can take, you know, play well and everything, we've got a little bit there for us to cling to.
Coach, before the season started, we were media day, I kind of pulled Carl Benson and asked him if he thought the conference had been good for Texas State, and thought about how their acclimation to the conference, was it good or bad? I mean, can you give any kind of idea how you feel about things now after playing the first 7 games? It just seems like when y'all played in the WAC, y'all got on top of things a little faster. Is the Sun Belt a little tougher than the WAC was? Or give us an evaluation of that, Coach.
For the life of me, I don't know how this computer spits out Lafayette as the first game every year. Okay, I don't like the fact that you play on Thursday night and somebody else gets a week to prepare and you get 3 days or 4 days, whatever it is. But I think all in all, the Sun Belt's been far better than being independent. I think the geographic footprint has been better for us than the WAC. I think the Sun Belt's a good league. You know, 2 years ago we were probably the best non-Power 5 league. I think that was pretty well proven out in America. I don't think we were last year. I'm not sure we're going to be this year, but still a lot of football to be played. You know, there's, I think for us, we're a little bit on the western skirt of everything in this league, and that certainly can have an impact on you a little bit, being on the western edge. But I think division setup is ahead, and I think that's good. So I think the Sun Belt's been fine. I can't say. I think Carl Benson has done a great job. I admire Carl a lot. I think he's been good for this league. I think he's tried to maintain a forward vision, and I think, you know, whatever we can sit and discuss a lot of things, but when the WAC was imploding, we certainly didn't want to be an independent, and I think all in all, this is a pretty good league for us, and I think we just have to make the best of it. And sometimes you know, we're all guilty of looking at our own situation more than the other teams in the league situation, and saying, how does this happen? But you know, and the not getting a bowl last year at 7-5 was pretty disheartening. I'm not sure that was the conference's fault. You know, we had bowl agreements in place that really took away the conference's ability to handle that situation. And so it's, though you'd like to find somebody to blame, and you know, when things like that don't go your way, the conference is not the right one to look at. I think Carl worked hard for us last year, really hard, and was very sympathetic to our situation, and but limited in what he could do. And so, you know, I think the best scenario in that regard is that at some point in time, your first place team goes here, your second place team this, third place team, you place them by order of finish more than popularity contest. And we don't have it that way in our league. Conference USA does, other leagues do. And you know, that's just a situation until bowl contracts are redone that we have to live with right now.
One more quick thing too, he's going to Miami, Virginia Tech, Maryland, or someplace else. Any
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, no, 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 no. This is my last job.